Hey everybody, it's GombletX and welcome back to some more Magic Arena. Today I'll be playing another Dominaria Premier Draft. This is the classic limited format, a lot of people's all-time favorite, that has a legendary creature in every single pack. So a very iconic set for sure, and we've got one of the most iconic cards from it if you drafted this format in the past. Slimefoot the Stowaway, one of the best build-around cards, easily splashable as well because the powerful ability on this is the activated ability, and that is a completely colorless ability there, so you really only need the one black symbol, the one green symbol to get this on the board. So just a super good card, obviously incredible if you can draft around a sapling deck. Gonna be an easy pick one, pack one here. If that weren't in the pack, I don't really think Precognition Field is much of a great build around. You really have to work a lot for it, so I'd probably take just one of the great kicker cards like Baloth Gorger here, or maybe a decent removal spell like Fiery Intervention, but I'd probably be on Baloth Gorger if there was no Slimefoot. So here, we don't see any of the great Saproling cards to follow up the Slimefoot. Thallid Soothsayer can be okay with Slimefoot, but it's kind of overcosted a bit. It definitely underperforms a bit for me just because of how expensive it is to get just a 2/3 body out. Like if you compare this to the card in Kamigawa Neon Dynasty, the 1 mana 1/2 that you spend 2 mana to sack a creature or artifact to draw a card, it's like an infinitely better version. This is the best you can kind of get in Dominaria when it comes to sacrificing creatures to draw a card, but it's still a lot of mana, a bit too slow and unwieldy for me. Whereas Shivan Fire is just an excellent burn spell. Even if we don't end up playing red, I don't think we're going to be incredibly happy with Thallid Soothsayer, even with Slimefoot. There's also Academy Journey Mage being a great blue creature. Such a huge tempo play to get a 3/2 down and bounce your opponent's card, even at 5 mana. And if you get the cost reduction, it's even better. And then Wrath as well is really nice. Instant speed to flash that thing in. See what we have here. We do have a Saproling Migration. This I'm much happier to take to follow up the Slimefoot because it's 2 power and 2 toughness for only 2 mana. It really clutters up the board, makes it hard for aggressive decks to get in, especially with 1 toughness creatures. And yeah, I think this card is just a much better deal for its mana cost, plus it has that great kicker effect if you draw it late game. Other good cards in this pack, again, Academy Journey Mage is an absolute banger, and then a Mesa Unicorn, great for the aggressive white decks, just a 2/2 lifelinker. Other than that, Drawer's Familiar and Quende could be fun build-arounds, I guess. Now, pick 4. Get 2 Lava Runners, great for wizard decks. Blink of an Eye is a huge tempo play for blue decks. Skittering Surveyor is excellent for pretty much anything. We're probably on Skittering Surveyor here. We could potentially play all 3 of our cards here. It's quite easy to play a 2-color deck, splashing a 3rd color deck, or even a 3-color deck in this format, especially if green is one of your colors, because you do have Skittering Surveyor. You also have cards like Grow from the Ashes available. I'm pretty happy to take Skittering Surveyor here. Shauna would be an option too if we want to go like green-white, go wide, and maybe splash in the Slimefoot. Shauna's definitely a decent card, but I think it's going to be Skittering Surveyor for me. We're just 100% going to put that in our deck, and we'll 100% put a second copy in our deck. Baloth Gorger is a great kicker card, as is Caligo Skinwitch, so these 2 are options as well, but Skittering Surveyor is just one of my favorite cards to pick up early in the draft in this format by quite a lot. This pack is pretty weak at this point. Cabal Paladin, just really low toughness for the cost. Relic Runners like cute. Hammered Explorers, just not doing it. Navigator's Compass isn't doing it. I don't think there's enough Goblins to go for War Chief or enough ETBs to go for Oath of Teferi. So I guess that leaves Primordial Worm or Arbor Armament, and neither of these are particularly exciting. I guess I'll just take a big old worm, I suppose. We do have double Surveyor, and that's 2 cards that'll help assure that we keep hitting land drops past our 3rd land drop, because we hit our 3rd land drop, then we play Surveyor, that makes sure we hit the 4th land. So with 2 of these, we are more likely to make it into higher mana costs than the average deck. So that makes running some 6 drops not as difficult. Even if it doesn't ramp that mana onto your board immediately, it draws the land into your hand, so you just guarantee you're hitting those extra land drops. We don't have many creatures that are going to get into any combat early game that would involve combat tricks working well yet. Like we'd combat trick on a 1/1. We're never going to put Slimefoot in harm's way if we can avoid it. So I don't really want combat tricks to go with Slimefoot. Pretty weak pack here again. I like Keldon Raider probably the best out of this pack. I just like this red card quite a lot, but I'm not really looking to go that heavy into red. We're definitely looking like green for sure. Double Surveyor makes sure that we're playing like green-red or green-black and splashing the other color. And I kind of like Soul Salvage when you have powerful creatures like Slimefoot or just very expendable creatures like Skittering Surveyor. Means we'll frequently have creatures in the grave early on to get the nice 2-for-1 value off of this, turn it into kind of a better divination. Soul Salvage, a pretty solid card in this format. And super happy I took the black card over the red card in that pack because now we have Deathbloom Thallid, which is just picture perfect to work with this Slimefoot. Now we have a 2-mana 2/2, a Guy's Blessing if we want to play a really slow, grindy deck, or Ancient Animus. Not great removal, but removal nonetheless. Works well with legendaries like Slimefoot. If our opponent's tapped out, then this can get rid of a creature with 3 or less power and toughness, because we'll make our Slimefoot a 3/4. That would win a fight. Sure, I'll take an Ancient Animus here. Don't think any of those were super good though. And this pack's not super great. Maybe Llanowar Envoy to help splash. Ideally, you wouldn't want to be splashing in a way that makes you go down a mana when you use the mana filtering ability, but I don't know, it's something. Probably better than Armament or Sparring Construct, but not by a ton. All of these are unplayable. All of these are pretty unplayable. And that's how it's going to be for the last few picks, as always, in draft. Deck's looking pretty solid here. Didn't really get much in the latter end of the half. I was happy to pick up that Deathbloom Thallid, but nothing super wild in the last half of that pack. So what do we want to do here? This is going to be an interesting one, because we're not tied to red here, that's for sure. We just have that one Shivan Fire if we want to be splashing red, but now if we splash white instead, we have On Sarah's Wings, which turns pretty much any creature into a must-kill threat that'll close the game out in just a few turns. +1/+1 Flying Vigilance Lifelink. It's an absolutely massive card. It's the best card in this pack. There's other good cards here, like a Fiery Intervention, Blink of an Eye, or Grow from the Ashes, or even Krosan Druid. These both are decent little kind of kicker, slow green deck cards. But I think On Sarah's Wings is the best card in the pack. We're not tied to what we're splashing yet, so we'll take On Sarah's Wings and have the option of splashing in white instead here, because that is just a mega powerful card. Here I'd be pretty happy to take Yavimaya Sapherd again. Functions really well with Slimefoot, and it's just a great green card in general. 2 creatures for 3 mana off the 1 card. 2/2 and a 1/1. And nothing massively powerful in this pack. The rare is certainly not super playable. An Armageddon that lets people get their lands back is a bit weird for 6 mana. Ooh, Untamed Kavu or Saproling Migration. I think these are both excellent cards. Untamed Kavu is probably generally a bit stronger, but because of Slimefoot, we might be leaning a little towards Saproling Migration instead. I don't think I want to go that heavy into it. We don't have very many just like straight up good creatures. With On Sarah's Wings as well, we want more creatures that just have decently sized bodies. Right now we have a bunch of little creatures and a bunch of cards that spread out our little creatures, like 2/2 Yavimaya Sapherds and a bunch of 1/1 tokens and stuff. So I think I kind of just like taking the big body card. I think it is a little better than Saproling Migration. And while Saproling Migration works better with Slimefoot, Untamed Kavu works much better with like On Sarah's Wings. Wow, and we get another Untamed Kavu or Llanowar Elves. These are both phenomenal for what we're trying to do here. Llanowar Elves obviously ramping us up into a turn 2 Yavimaya Sapherd or Slimefoot or Skittering Surveyor, or ramps us up into a turn 5 Primordial Worm. All that kind of stuff is great, but Untamed Kavu is also just the stone cold business. Great on turn 2 and great on turn 5. Yeah, these are both excellent. I am honestly at a bit of a loss which we should take. They're super, super comparable. I think I'm going to go with another beefy creature and take the Untamed Kavu here. Not super comparable in what they do, but super comparable in power level. Just some bonkers green cards. Pick 5 now. We see Blessed Light in white, and we're already looking to splash it for On Sarah's Wings. This is one of the best removal spells in the format, since it exiles, hits multiple card types, creatures or enchantments, and happens at instant speed. So it stops ridiculous sagas or ridiculous creatures of any kind. Yeah, it's going to be Blessed Light for me. Everything else in this pack is borderline unplayable. The best other cards are probably like Dub, Cyclops, and Sergeant at Arms, but don't quote me on that, because none of them are that great. Now we have nothing. I guess we have Drudge Sentinel, Cabal Paladin, or Broken Bond. We're definitely not splashing a card that ideally wants double white. I don't think we're splashing a white Memorial, because ideally for the white splash, because we have double Skittering Surveyor, we're just going to play a single Plains, and that can get tutored by the Surveyor. Memorial to Glory obviously can't get tutored, and if we play Memorial to Glory, we need another white source, so we need a Memorial to Glory and a Plains. Just grab this Drudge Sentinel, I guess. Kind of expensive to regenerate it. This doesn't seem that good to me. Wow, Sarah Angel. And the only on-color, like green or black option is Feral Abomination, so we're going to take a Sarah Angel. I guess maybe we should have taken that Memorial to Glory, because now it's looking like the white splash might be expanding. Maybe even we move into green-white as the core and splash in the black instead, because that's a pick 7 Sarah Angel. Yeah, Pegasus Courser, Triumph of Gerard here. I think the course is a bit better for us. Triumph of Gerard is nice for a really aggressive deck. Make your creature bigger and then get a really big swing out of it, but Pegasus Courser is also just super sick, giving evasion to your stuff. Yeah, it's looking like we're pushing into green-white, splashing in the black instead, so I actually kind of wish I took that Memorial to Glory. Didn't think it was that likely we'd be pushing in this direction, but you never know. As you can see, Haven Sentry or a random trick. And I'm not really going to try to do the Gaia's Blessing thing. Theoretically would work in this format, because you can really draft the grindy decks. I'm not that bold of a drafter, though, at least right now. Taking some poop at the end of the pack as we move into pack 3 here. Soul Salvage is very splashable. Drudge Sentinel, not much. So we could just splash for just Slimefoot if we want. Probably splash for at least Slimefoot Soul Salvage, I would think. See how things go in pack 3. We get a green rare, but it's not super good, and then another absolutely busted On Sarah's Wings in white. We probably take On Sarah's Wings here. Llanowar Elves is another option, though. We don't have any mana ramp in the deck yet, and that would be pretty spicy to play a turn 4 Sarah Angel or a turn 3 On Sarah's Wings. But I think I'd rather just have another On Sarah's Wings. This card's just bonkers. Card is just sick, and I'm happy to have another one. And wow, now we get another Sarah Angel, or we get a Rite of Bells Unlock and push back into black, or we get a Llanowar Elves to ramp up. This draft's absurd. I think I want another Sarah Angel. Thing is just stupid good. We're not really ramping up in the traditional manner, but we can consistently hit our 5 mana turn 5, our 4 mana turn 4, thanks to our double Skittering Surveyor. I don't think we need the straight mana ramp of Llanowar Elves that much. It would still be helpful, it would still be powerful. But if we can just get more game-ending flying threats, that's all good by me too. And we can get mana ramp as well here. We can go for the Elfheim Druid, because we're definitely not playing Caligo Skin Witch. We're now looking to really cut down on the black, maybe even to just Slimefoot at this point. The other green's not that good. The Adamant Will is a fine combat trick in white, though. But I think I'm pretty down for the Elfheim Druid. Get a little bit of ramp in here. I don't know, that could be wrong. We already have double Surveyor, and we don't have any kicker to get like the double pump out of this. This is just a slower Llanowar Elves, basically. Maybe he's supposed to take Adamant Will, but... Oh wait, no, we've got double Untamed Kavu. or Untamed Kavu. That is actually pretty good. Elfhame Druid could double mana for Untamed Kavu, so we could play Untamed Kavu kicked on turn 3. There we go. There's a reason. So what do we have now? Not much. Sergeant at Arms, I guess. Thorn Elemental if we want another late game card. Don't really want another late game card, but we could like cut Primordial Worm for this Thorn Elemental. Thorn Elemental is definitely a lot better than it because of its ability to assign combat damage as though it weren't blocked. That's a pretty busted way to just finish your opponent off. Sure. Slam a Thorn Elemental in here. Now, not really liking any of this. I guess we can take a 2-drop. 2-mana 2/2. Fills the deck out. Not going to splash in a Dark Bargain. Not going to play an Aether Glider. We're not that aggressive that we want creatures that can't block. I think Soul Salvage might still be a good splash in this deck, because the quality of the creatures that we have in the deck, like picking up a Serra Angel from Grave is stupid. Knight of Nubenalia, Dub, Corrosive Ooze, and Tashar. Whenever you cast a Historic Spell, return a creature with mana value 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. How are we looking on Historic Spells? 2 on Sarah's Wings, 2 Skittering Surveyor, 1 Slimefoot, 5 Historic Spells. Probably not really enough for Tashar, but at the same time, we're unlikely to play anything else in here. And it's gems. It's gems for the collection. I'm not going to play double Soul Salvage. If I splash a Soul Salvage, I'm going to splash 1. But at the same time, we're not playing Aether Glider or Divest or Cabal Stronghold. I could take Cabal Stronghold for gems, or I could take Soul Salvage, just on the off chance we want to double splash them. Feels unlikely. I'm pretty sure I'm cutting the first Soul Salvage. And I go back and forth with it. Yeah, it would be really cool if we play it super late game and bring back a Serra Angel and Slimefoot. Yeah, that's super busted, but at the same time, we could also just be like green-white by not playing those. Have the easiest splash in the world. This pack's all nonsense. Does not matter at all what we take. Jousting Lance it is. Just take a higher... Well, no, we've got Davenant Trapper in here. That's actually a pretty sick card. Take this and we can cut our Llanowar Envoy now, which is pretty good. Whenever we cast a Historic Spell, we get to tap a creature an opponent controls, so when we cast in On Sarah's Wings or Tashar or something like that, and this gives us another 3-mana creature with 3 power, which is a great card to target with our On Sarah's Wings. Dub, Pierce the Sky, Guardians of Koilos. Not a big fan of any of them. I guess Guardians of Koilos triggers Tashar. The Tashar that we're probably not running. We're definitely not going to play Dub when we're already playing 2 on Sarah's Wings. We just don't have room for more weaker auras than those. $19 creatures, that's plenty of creatures, but I'm not going to play Gaia's Blessing. Have a Sergeant at Arms as an option. Alright, let's build this deck here, shall we? Alright, so I think this is the deck that I am going to go with. As you can see, these cards on the right are the cards that I could have ran in here, but I cut them because I think they're our weakest options. We cut Deathbloom Thallid because we want to keep that black splash nice and easy. We're only splashing for Slimefoot. That way we can hopefully get there off of just double Surveyor and 1 Swamp. That is 3 black sources in the deck. And that means Slimefoot, we're not going to consistently cast Slimefoot on turn 3, but Slimefoot's really about how powerful that activated ability is, so we just treat Slimefoot as another, 5-6 drop. Whenever we hit that black source for Slimefoot, we just go for it. As you can see, we have plenty of 3 drops, even if we don't consider Slimefoot to be one of them. So that's why we cut Deathbloom Thallid here. Llanowar Envoy, again, I don't love using this for mana filtering, and I think that we have better 3-mana 3/2s. The Davenant Trapper particularly being the better 3-mana 3/2, potentially tapping things down from our opponent. We just have better 3 drops in general. Pegasus Courser sending things in the sky, Krosan Druid being a good way to come back if we top deck this late game after having taken a bunch of damage from an aggressive deck. Then of course Sapherd and Surveyors are just incredible cards. We're definitely not cutting those. So that's why we cut Llanowar Envoy and Sergeant at Arms. I guess we could play Sergeant at Arms over Krosan Druid and get 2 1/1s instead of 10 life out of it if we get the kicker on it late in the game. I think they're pretty comparable. I don't think you could go super wrong either way, putting 1 Sergeant at Arms in here, 1 Krosan Druid in here. So this one, a cut I'm a little less confident on. I don't think it matters too much there. We could be playing Guardians of Koilos just to trigger Tashar more often, but I don't think Tashar's in here really to try to trigger it as often as possible. I mainly just left Tashar in because our other options just feel weaker to me. A 2/2 flyer for 4 mana is a bit below curve. Obviously, ideally you're getting a 3/2 flyer for 4 mana in this format, but we can deal with having 1 less power for the rare occasions when we do get some value off of Tashar. We have some really expendable creatures at 3 mana and less, Skittering Surveyors and Sapherds and stuff that we'll just let die all the time in combat. Same with these 2 mana 2/2s. So if we ever manage to, top deck a Skittering Surveyor later in the game when we have Tashar out, drop it and pull out another card from our grave, seems like a good payoff for the lack of 1 extra power there. I think it balances out to be worth it, to the point where we don't have to focus super hard on Historic, which is why we're not playing the 5 mana 4/4, the 3 mana 2/1 flyer, or the card that pulls artifacts out from our grave. So those are the cuts. That is the deck. Ideally, the deck looks pretty flexible and has just a lot of power once we hit the mid-game. Untamed Kavus to slam down turn 5. As 5/5 Vigilance Tramples, we have 5 mana 4/4 Flying Vigilances on turn 5. We've got Skittering Surveyors to make sure that we consistently hit our land drops going up the curve, and Elfhame Druid as 1 piece of ramp to get up the curve as well. We also have the Onstairs Wings kind of functioning the same way as our other 5-drops, where these are just like, play them on that turn 5 and we make a must-kill threat out of a Sapherd, make it a 3/3 Flying Vigilance Lifelink. That's a huge deal. A 3/4 Flying Vigilance Lifelink, a 4/3 Flying Vigilance Lifelink, huge deal on all of those. So yeah, seems like a pretty good deck for the format. The biggest weakness that I could foresee with this deck is the lack of removal. We have 1 copy of Ancient Animus, which is a fight removal spell, which is not ideal. It's a very conditional removal spell. If our opponent plays like a Muldrotha or something like a big old 6/6, that will be very hard for us to kill with a fight style removal spell like this, but we're so lacking on removal, we're still going to run this anyway. And then we do have the 1 Blessed Light. Now, there's nothing wrong with Blessed Light. This is a great removal spell. We just don't have enough removal. 1 Blessed Light, 1 Ancient Animus. That is the biggest weakness of the deck that I foresee, but hopefully we just play more impactful individual cards than our opponent does. So, without further ado, let's head into the gameplay. Here we are, game 1 on the play, turn 3 Sapherd or Surveyor to pull out our planes to help get to Pegasus Courser and Serra Angel. Pretty big fan of the hand. It is not very quick, so if our opponent's aggressive, we're going to have an issue. But they start with a turn 1 Navigator's Compass, not a super aggressive play. We've got yet another 3-drop here. The Davenant Trapper has been drawn. Alright, we don't have a 4th land drop in hand, so in the interest of making sure we keep hitting all our land drops, we're just going to Skittering Surveyor right now for a plains, rather than play a Sapherd to put more power on the board. Mono blue so far from our opponent. Tolarian Scholar turn 3. They do have a Navigator's Compass out, so whatever color they need, they can get. Alright, 2/3 on the board. A 2/2 is not going to attack into that well at all, but neither is a 3/2. Pegasus Courser can help. We can fly over that. We could also play Davenant Trapper here, and that way if we draw any historic spells, we can tap down the Scholar and start getting in. I think Pegasus Courser just seems like a much more consistent way to jam in there. Troyer's Familiar from our opponent. Their historic spells will be 1 cheaper. Decent card. It also stops our attacks here, because we can attack with a 1/3 and they'll bounce, or we attack both and they kill Surveyor. Both seem bad. So let's just kick this Untamed Kavu that we've drawn. Pretty excellent draw for us there. Now we have a 5/5 Vigilance Trample on the board against their 2/3 and 2/2. Mono blue so far from our opponent still. They might just be mono blue artifacts. There are some really cool, just fringe strategies in this format that you can do. That is one of the things I will very much give this format that does make it one of the best formats of all time, is that there's some rares and sagas that make you want to draft in a very particular way to where you end up with just weird decks like this, mono blue artifacts here. Like maybe they have Antiquities War that they're trying to draft around, something like that. So Untamed Kavu alongside Pegasus Courser can go into the sky, but then they can double block Courser to kill it. But we do sneak in 5 damage that way. Don't think it's worth it. We probably just jam out our Serra Angel. pass the turn here. Could jam out our Primordial Worm, but I think Serra Angel's going to get more done. If we jam out Primordial Worm, they can just keep spending 2 mana to block it all day long with their Amaranthine Wall. Joyra, Weatherlight Captain. Okay, they're just stuck on mana. They are a blue-red historic deck, which does explain a lot of these little random artifacts like Navigator's Compass, the Walls, the Familiars. They're trying to draw as many cards as they can off of Joyra, Weatherlight Captain. So that's kind of scary. 6 mana here. That is enough to kick a Sapling Migration if we want to go wide. I think we'd rather go big, though. We really want to draw something to tap things down with Davenant Trapper, so that we can get in with Pegasus Courser without losing it to these familiars. Probably attack these two, I guess. If we send in Courser 2, we do get a 9 damage if they want to kill Pegasus Courser. I don't think that's quite worth it to me. Alright, so they're just going to go for the free block on the wall, and they're going to take forward, not even a double block on Serra Angel. Fair enough. Play that Primordial Worm. And now Primordial Worm is going to soak up the Amaranthine Wall as a blocker each turn. Down to 3 cards in hand, apparently out of historic spells, and we have drawn our 1 unconditional removal spell, Blessed Light. It's going to be super helpful to get rid of Joyra, but now we can even attack with Courser freely and maybe even let them keep Joyra if it means we get to keep Pegasus Courser. I genuinely think that's probably worth it. We can let them keep Joyra, draw whatever cards they're going to draw, in order to kill a Joyra's Familiar here to ensure that we keep Pegasus Courser on board if they don't have a Syncopate here. And if they do have a Syncopate, it doesn't really matter that we're busting our removal on a Joyra's Familiar because it would have gotten countered on Joyra anyway. Alright, this seems really good. They're down to 8 now, and we can keep sending in a flying Primordial Worm. Artificer's Assistant, that does mean they have 3 powers of flyers out, but if they double block to kill Pegasus Courser, they take 11, so they can't do that. And we have Ancient Animus as well. We drew both our removal spells here. That seems real lucky. What do we want to do with this removal? Do we guarantee lethal if we use this right now? No, we don't. We can kill 1 flyer, attack with these 3, and they just trump block this, take 4/5. It's not lethal. Since it's not lethal anyway, let's hold on to Ancient Animus. If something goes wrong in combat, we can use it. And if nothing goes wrong, we can hold on to it for a rainy day here. Make sure that we can use it to ensure lethal next turn. Alright, we're dealing 4 here. None of these blocks kill anything of ours. So that seems good to me. And we only need 2 mana to hold Ancient Animus up, so let's get a Trapper down here. I'm not too worried about a Mono Blue Wrath here. There's no Mono Blue Wrath in the format. They could be splashing for the White Wrath, I guess. Exile all non-legendaries. Seems like they're just flooded on blue sources, unfortunately. So the nice from our opponent there. They might have double red cards or something in hand. Definitely looks like it was not a great game for our opponent, but that will be a victory for us, and we'll start this draft off 1-0. Round 2 now of our Dominaria draft. Got Elfhame Druid on 2, Sapherd on 3, Thorn Elemental for late game play. Got both colors. Not worth the mulligan. There's an On Serra's Wings we can slam down on something. Turn a Sapherd into a 3/3 Flying Vigilance Lifelink. Pretty big threat. That being said, our opponent is in the best colors for cheap interaction. Blue and red. They can have cheap ways to do 2 damage to a creature or bounce a card to our hand. So I don't love On Serra's Wings. I'm definitely going to go for the Serra Angel first here, especially if they tap out. They do tap out, so a definite Serra Angel next turn. They'll have to play a kicked Shivan Fire to kill that. Otherwise, they could play Fiery Intervention or just one of their bounce spell style removal spells. I could offer the trade with the Journey Mage attacking Sapherd in, but they'll probably just block with Arcanist. We definitely don't get damage by attacking with Sapherd. All we do is give our opponent the option of trading if they want. So, does not seem worth it. Another Journey Mage from our opponent to ping us for some damage, but looks like Sarah Angel lives another day. She'll chip in for at least 4 damage before she's out of here. And I could go all in and just drop that on Sarah's Wings here. Again, that plays really poorly against their bounce spells. If they had a bounce spell in hand, I feel they would have probably used it on Sarah Angel to buy some time here to draw into the removal or the counter spell to get rid of it. So I think I kind of do want to on Sarah's Wings and start threatening them for 7 damage a turn. That being said, Skittering Surveyor is good here. It does grab another land, which is important to make it to 7 for Thorn Elemental. We'd be at 6, so we're only 1 turn away if we draw another land. Yeah, I don't know. Skittering Surveyor seems good to me here too. I'll grab the 1 black source in case we draw Slimefoot, because we do already have double green thanks to Elfhame Druid here. Just dump the hand out. I want to give them another turn to maybe like try to bounce Sarah Angel before we start slapping on Sarah's Wings onto the board. Plus, if we make it to Thorn Elemental mana, we can just slam down a Thorn Elemental instead, and that's also super threatening. We did make it to Thorn Elemental mana. Not going to cast it till post-combat. Going to give them the opportunity again to bounce our stuff if they want to. Save some life here. Kick a Shivan Fire now. Befuddle, draw a card and save themselves from the damage this turn. That means they do still have the mana up for Syncopate. They could Syncopate our Thorn Elemental for 1, pay a blue and 1 to counterspell unless we pay 1 mana. So we could on Sarah's Wings instead. Post-combat on Sarah's Wings is a bit strange though, but it could be worth it just to play around Syncopate. Plays really poorly against the bounce, but really great against the counterspell. So we just got a Soul Read if they have the bounce or the counterspell. You know what? If they have the counterspell, Thorn Elemental's gone. We can still on Sarah's Wings next turn. Well, they've got Wizard's Retort too, so they could have countered either. They would have countered on Sarah's Wings even if we tried to do that. And Fire Fist Adept, an excellent card. The Flame Tongue Kavu of the set deals damage equal to the number of wizards they control to one of our cards when they put it down. Could play Banalish Honor Guard and put on Sarah's Wings onto it. That will start hitting them slower, but it'll hit them harder. Because it'll be a 4-3 instead of a 3-3. They are tapped out right now, though, so this is the only time I know they don't have another counterspell. Let's just start jamming in with the Sap Herd. Keldon Raider. I am very concerned here. This is definitely the worst matchup for our On Sarah's Wings. Because blue has tons of playable bounce at common. The 4-mana 3/2 wizard and the 2-mana instant that they can kick for 2 mana to draw a card when they do it. Slimefoot's a super sick draw for us, though. It means we still have action even if they get rid of our Yavimaya Sapherd's Wings. Adeliz the Cinderwind, now they have their own action. But we're at 22 with a lifelinker on board. We're just not going to block that if they try to get in. Alright, do the Slimefoot thing. We've drawn an Untamed Kavu, 4, 5, 6, 7 mana. Don't have the mana to make 2 tokens with Slimefoot. So probably go Kavu here. They have 1 spell in hand. They can kill the Sap Herd by trading Adeliz into it. It's probably fine though, because we get the spell out of their hand and then we just start taking over the game with Slimefoot instead. We still have a win condition after that. I don't know if we have the mana up to make a Sapperling after this. 4, 5. We are 1 mana off from playing Kavu and making a Sapperling. So since that's the case, we might as well not tap our creature. Send in Withal, try to get a big buff off of Adeliz for lethal out of nowhere here, I suppose. Block the biggest ones with Sapperlings because they'll drain them for life when they die. offer a trade on the 3/2. Rather offer a trade on a 3/2 than a 2/3, so we'll put an honor guard there. Surveyor on a 1/3, so we stop that damage too. And then, yeah, these are all kind of important, so I think I would just block like that and pass. And it looks like our opponent is going to scoop them up. Just taking a little while in that combat. I wanted to play it pretty safe. There's some really explosive cards that can always change things, so didn't want to just flunge my blocks there. So 2-0 as we head into round 3. Round 3 now. Our opponent is on the play, which makes this hand look very exciting because we get to draw first. We just need to hit one land by turn 3 and we are off to the races here. If we don't hit that land, things are going to get a little sketchy. I'll be honest, but if we do, this hand has some serious power coming up. Alright, there's the land. Absolutely perfect. We do have to Skittering Surveyor for the plains, which is a bit rough if we end up drawing a Slimefoot. But that is okay, because if the worst of our concern is we draw a Slimefoot we can't cast, then we're good, because we have so much good stuff that we can cast. It'll be okay. Thallid Omnivore from our opponent, so we're definitely not getting in on the ground this turn. Could slap some wings onto somebody here. I think might as well. The other option is to drop a 2-drop or 2 2-drops, and I'd rather cast these Kavus at 5 mana. So let's see if we can't pull a removal spell out of their hand here on our Corrosive Ooze. And if they don't have a removal spell in hand, then Ooze can just go off and kill them. Alright, we do drag the removal spell out of their hand. We're at 16, they're at 17. We do hit the 5th land, and it's the Swamp. Really lucky draw there, super good stuff. Would I rather play Kavu than Serra Angel? Just in fear of them having more removal? Yeah, I mean, Kavu is also a better blocker here. If we play Serra Angel, they get to attack in with Thallid Omnivore, and we can't really block. But if we play Untamed Kavu, and they attack with Thallid Omnivore, then we can block with our Untamed Kavu. And the worst that can happen is we 2-for-1 them. We kill the Omnivore and the Druid. Right? Unless they have a combat trick in hand. And they have a Mammoth Spider, so that worked out really well that we didn't cast Serra Angel, because Serra Angel would just keep bonking into a 3/5. So Untamed Kavu, if we attack in, we kill Mammoth Spider if they double block like this, or we kill these two if they... Or no, we only kill one of those two. That's a problem. Yeah, the fact that they can block with a 3/3 and a 2/3 means I don't think we attack with Kavu here. That's pretty rough. I think we will play another one, though. Do want to drop this land. We'd like to get to our 7 mana for Thorn Elemental. That'll be a really big deal on this board state. There can be some consideration to holding lands in hand against black decks in this format, because Caligo Skinwitch is pretty popular, but we've got a 7-drop in hand. I don't think we can afford to do that. That being said, if the final card in their hand is Caligo Skinwitch, they're going to live the Skinwitch dream here, because we're going to cast Thorn Elemental, which means the Skinwitch would make us discard Serra Angel and Banalish Honor Guard. So what happens if I double attack now? We kill Mammoth Spider and one of their 3/3s. Sure. Yeah. Down for that. We get the better board state now. And the path is clear for Serra Angel. The reason they're so happy to do that is because of their fungal plots. They can just get some 1/1 saplings now and gain some life off them and stuff. But I'm so happy to do it because I've got Serra Angel. And Skittering Surveyor here, we can do that pre-Serra Angel for more value. We probably want to attack first. See if they want to drop some instant speed removal on our Thorn Elemental. They get 2 saplings from fungal plots. They could sack both saplings to make the Omnivore a 7/7, I guess. We trade the Thorn Elemental into the Omnivore, and they're down to just a 2/3 on their board. Oh yeah, this is fine. Get rid of this omnivore so they can't go off with fungal plots anymore for future blocks. Or is it the trick coming out? He's spending removal too. Fungal infection. That's fine. They didn't even need to cast that. Because they don't have the mana to make Omnivore big enough to survive a 6/6 still. So we were already just only going to kill the 6/6 if they just sack 2 Saplings. I guess this way they get to keep more Saplings. No, we don't want to deal damage as though it weren't blocked. We want to do the 5 to the Omnivore. Alright. So we get the trick out of their hand, which is nice. They do have some Saplings and another creature in their grave, though. So they can keep making Saplings and drawing cards here, which is a problem. Fungal Plots is definitely doing its thing. But if they can't deal with Sarah Angel, that will win us the game. They have 2 cards in hand now. Alright. Sarah Angel's going to keep trucking on for now. We'll start holding lands for a potential Caligo Skin Witch from our opponent. If we draw something like a Blessed Light that we want to keep in hand. Krosan Druid, they'll gain a bunch of life, but Sarah Angel's still doing her thing. And there's another one. Absolutely beautiful. Just playing some classic Magic here. That's another one of the coolest things about Dominaria. You've got cards from Alpha and Beta, and they are good in draft, like Sarah Angel and Icy Manipulator. Really cool stuff. But these iconic cards from the very first sets in Magic's history are draftable and powerful in the format. Deathbloom Thallid from our opponent. I'm pretty excited. This is getting me excited for Dominaria United, so this was a great idea from Wizards to bring back these Dominaria drafts for a little bit before new Capenna launches, because we are getting another Dominaria set this year. So, in general, I'm not like the most excited about the legendary theme in Dominaria. It's cool and everything that you get a legend in every pack for Commander and all that stuff, but I forgot how cool it is to just jam in with Sarah Angel. So I really hope they do some more, classic reprints from like Alpha and Beta. Maybe get Giant Spiders or Giant Growth, something like that. Fireball could be a cool one. We are getting Fireball in the Commander set, but still. You have my Sap Herd with Fungal Plots. That's going to be another card draw. Dig for one last removal spell here, because they're gaining 2 life. Mammoth Spider it is. They'll go to 1. They've got another draw step. And they've got the creatures in grave to make 1 more Saproling, so not enough to draw 1 more card off of that. I guess we probably should have played Elfhame Druid. There is 1 Wrath in black, actually, at Mythic Rare. There's a Wrath that destroys all non-artifact creatures. It's a Mythic Rare, though, so probably still supposed to play the Druid. This doesn't really help us at all, though. We don't need the mana. We don't need the blocker. Not like a massive reason to jam it out. Try to find lethal here, I guess. Last ditch effort. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. What? 10? I have no idea what this could be. Actually very concerned right now. I'm trying to just think through my head what I want this to be. They want them to die for Fungal Plots, actually, maybe? And maybe they just want them to die for fungal plots. I'm going to look like a big doofus when they cast whatever this is. Maybe. Maybe I won't. Maybe I'll just lethal. Okay. Okay. I got a little too distracted and excited about swinging with Sarah Angels there that I got real confused when that attack showed up. Well, 3-0 it is as we move on to round 4. Round 4 now. This is going to be a bit of a slow hand, and that is a self-inflicted wound here because I'm going to choose not to play this on turn 2 unless our opponent plays some really aggressive cards early on here. So I'm actively choosing to make this a slow hand because we can jam out that Kavu turn 2. I just don't want to. There's greed within my bones. Skittering Surveyor, turn 3 from our opponent. They are playing a black-white deck, see if they're splashing. Nope, looks like they just need that double white, potentially some Sarah Angels of their own. I'm going to drop down a turn 3 Davenant Trapper here so we can lead into the turn 4 on Sarah's Wings, potentially. And that way we have all of our historic cards in hand to get the full value off of the Trapper's ability to tap things down as well. But I kind of like turn 4 on Sarah's Wings, turn 5 kicked Untamed Kavu. They're a black-white deck, so likely a lot of good removal like Eviscerate and Blessed Light, so I fully expect to get 2 for 1 with just 1 removal spell being slapped onto our Trapper, but we'll see. Maybe they have a cast down in hand. That is what happened to me in the first return draft to Dominaria. I drafted a bunch of cast downs and ran up against a bunch of powerful legendary cards, and that was a problem. Because cast down is 1 in a black for an instant that destroys a non-legendary creature. It's definitely looking like they have removal for this, though. They are very much reading it. No, maybe they have cast down in hand because they read it a lot. Maybe they're like, why is that legendary? Well, On Sarah's Wings makes the creature legendary. So maybe we just like got them there because of cast down. They do have 3 power in the sky now, so we have to play a historic spell over Untamed Kavu. I'm happy to do that because I want to just get all of the value in the world off of this Davenant Trapper's ability and this Davenant Trapper's wings as I can before it gets just shot by a removal spell. That was a super weird, complex way to say that I just want to attack as many times with this creature before it dies as possible. Want to get value out of it before it is killed. Because it is a big lightning rod for removal right now. And it's all working out so far. We have drawn a lot of lands. That could be an issue pretty soon here because we've ran out of historic cards to play, which means if we attack now with the Trapper, we're 1 for 1 trading. They block with Pegasus Courser and the short-sorted Pegasus Courser, and we can only kill 1 of the 2. So we have to just play Kavu and pass, I think. So yeah, we are running out of gas. The draws are becoming a problem. There's a Sarah Angel from our opponent. Our Trapper can trade with that. That's not the end of the world if we have to do that. How does Kavu attack in here? We attack in, they have to block it with 5 power. What is their best way to block with 5 power? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't think they have a great 5 power block here. Like, we kill multiple creatures either way, right? Like, they can block with a 2-4 and a 1-3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They can block with like all these. We kill 2 creatures no matter what, I think. Yeah, I think we have to just attack with Kavu because we don't have a lot of tricks or removal in this deck. So we gotta just take our 2 for 1s where we can. I think we're sending the Kavu in here. Probably getting rid of like a Pegasus Courser and a Mace Unicorn or something. Oh, they're going to block with everybody, so we kill whatever we want. 5 power. Kill 3 creatures then, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let them keep their 2 Pegasus Coursers. Their whole board has flying anyway, so the ability to give flying doesn't matter too much. Yep, super down for that. Drop some more dorks. Pass the turn. Sarah Angel's got a short sword. It's a 5/5 flying vigilance now. Definitely single-handedly closes the game out for our opponent. There's a historic spell though. So we can tap down Sarah Angel and attack into 2 power flyers with Davenant Trapper. It's got vigilance, so that's definitely the play. Really good draw for us. Now might be our best opportunity to get some value off of our like 2/2s and 3/2s on the ground as well. They could double block our 2/2 with 2 1/3s if they let like everything else through, but I think that's fine. We could attack with both of these to sack one of them to get like 2 or 3 points of damage in. It's probably worth it. I don't know if we attack all though, because if we attack all, we're losing 1/1 there, 1/2 there, and then they just block the 2/2 there. Take just 7. Yeah, maybe I'm wrong about the whole chipping in with these two. Might not be worth it. Honor Guard kills something no matter what though, so maybe Honor Guard's worth it. Kill one of their creatures, get one thing out of the way. Sure. Send in the Honor Guard. Okay, so they'd rather us kill 1 Pegasus than 1 Cabal Paladin, which is interesting. I'd have expected they'd prefer the higher toughness creatures, because Cabal Paladin, I don't think that thing's ever going to get in. Maybe they have a lot of historic spells to try to damage us with. But yeah, since it's on the ground with such low toughness, I just don't expect it to get in. I guess they have Pegasus Courser to throw it in the sky. That was one thing to consider. That does help a lot with its low toughness, if they give it some evasion. Let it just fly above all our sapperlings and stuff. Alright, well. I'm going to keep 2 lands in hand, but I'll play the rest of them here. There's the Blessed Light. Doesn't seal the deal. We have like 4 turns to draw something here, but pretty much gets them there. Since they got the Sarah Angel out to have their own threat on board. 2/2 double strike. Send in with everybody. Oh yeah, I forgot, because of course we're just dead in 2 turns. Well, we're dead in 2 turns because they have Courser to give Cabal Paladin flying, and they cast a historic spell there. There's Sarah Angel, but that doesn't save us because of Short Sword. They can just Short Sword their Sarah Angel, send in. We would block and lose our creature there. They deal 5 to us in the sky still. Yeah, Sarah Angel's not going to do it for us. Too little too late. Just flooded out a little bit this game, unfortunately. Ran out of steam. This is one of the weaknesses of our deck. We don't really have card draw. We just have powerful spells to drop down. I was going to say that would be a reason to try to splash in the Soul Salvage as well, but if you look at our graveyard, Soul Salvage ain't going to save us this game either. I guess we can kill one of the creatures here at least. We could do this and just be like, you don't have a historic spell, I'm certain of it. Sure. We're so dead here no matter what. Let's just be like, yeah, you don't have a historic spell, bet. Oh, they've got Gideon's Reproach, so Sarah Angel dies no matter where we put it. Okay. Super mega extra dead then. And that is game. Our first loss, 3-1 it is. Here we are, round 5 with our Selesnya Sarah deck. Got Sarah's Wings, 2 copies of it, and 2 copies of Sarah Angel herself. See how things are going to go for us here. Another hand that is going to be slow because I'm going to choose not to play Kavu on 2 if I can avoid it. But shouldn't be a problem. Most games in this format, as we have seen, tend to be a little slower on the grindier side. Even the Rakdos deck from our opponent does not have a turn 2 or turn 3 play. Drop our Trapper, get it shot by a Shivan Fire here. 1 removal spell out of the way for our bigger spells. A Rampaging Cyclops from our opponent on turn 4. Get an even Sentry into the sky here. I think we're going to accept some hits from that Rampaging Cyclops. Well, accept 1 hit from it, then we'll hope that an Untamed Kavu doesn't get killed, because that'll be a 5/5 blocker, which should keep the Cyclops off of our face. Thallid Omnivore, on the other hand, does threaten to be a 5/5 if they sacrifice a creature. However, that would still be a 2-for-1 trade. We would kill Thallid Omnivore and whatever creature they sacrifice. So here's the Kavu. Our Aven Sentry did chip in for a bit of damage. 2-headed Giant from our opponent. Kind of a scarier 4/4 than the Rampaging Cyclops. This one, they flip some coins, and if they get lucky, this card's very threatening. If they get 2 heads, they get Double Strike. If they get 2 tails, they get Menace. If they get 2 different results, then the heads cannot agree on what to do, and the Giant is a little flummoxed to just attacks as a 4/4. So they didn't kill Untamed Kavu yet, so let's see if On Sarah's Wings just gives us a quick kill here. It is certainly possible. That creature is also legendary, which means if I want to use Ancient Animus, I might as well use it right now to put a counter on Kavu and do 1 more damage, and I think I do want to use Ancient Animus to get rid of 2-headed Giant. So it's not even possible they have a Menace counterattack here. And we're attacking for 10 in the sky, putting them to 7 life, and they're just going to scoop them up. Seems like no more removal in hand. On Sarah's Wings, just going to quickly close that one out. All right, here we are, round 6. The lack of green mana is a big concern here, but if we had any land, we hit Tashar, but that's not till turn 4. We only have 8 green sources in the deck. We've got 8 green, 8 white, 1 black. I think I have to mulligan this. This seems a bit risky. On the play here, not even on the draw. Go for the mulligan. This is much more keepable. I think we get rid of the 6-drop, even though we have Surveyor making the hand functionally 4 mana in hand. 6-drop's a bit much. We can curve out really well here too. Also, 2, 3, 4 should be really nice, especially if one of these 2 dies for Tashar to bring back later. Ooh, now we have 2, 3, 4, 5, the dream curve here. But our opponent does have a turn 1 play at Llanowar Elves, which is a pretty bonkers one too. So, opponent is certainly off to a great start as well. And we do draw the 2nd forest, meaning that we can just pull out a swamp here with Skittering Surveyor. We've got our double green, our double white, and our black source. Am I willing to trade Banalish Honor Guard into a Llanowar Elves to keep our opponent off bigger spells? I think I am. If they wish to double block, I'll kill a Llanowar Elves. Forgot about that 1/3 body of Llanowar Scout, meaning it doesn't really matter if we attack, they'll just bounce off it. On Sarah's Wings on Llanowar Scout. Alright, there's our On Sarah's Wings. Is that a better turn 4 play than Tashar here? Probably. Our Sarah's Wings creatures will be superior to theirs. It'll be a 4/3. The Sarah's Wing fight begins. Saproling Migration from our opponent, that's no removal, so Banalish Honor Guard lives another turn with Sarah's Wings. So get in there again. They're down to 14, we're up to 26, and here comes our Untamed Kavu. Another creature to start jamming in here. There's another Llanowar Elves from our opponent. They've got 5 mana on board now. See what they want to do about our Untamed Kavu here, if anything. They can certainly make a really big block on it and block it with 5 power of stuff. They're going to take it all and go to 5. Some boldness from our opponent. So here's Tashar, get some more flying damage into the sky. Fungal plots from our opponent, so they can now sacrifice saplings to gain some life and draw a card, and that is what they're going to do, digging for removal, digging for answers. Alright, oh my god. Onsera's Wings is a legendary card, so we can't have 2 Onsera's Wings down, unfortunately. So I think we just attack these 2, right? If we attack with this, they can block there. Gain 2 life, be at essentially 9. Block, block. They're at 9. Take 3, 5. I think if we attack all, they can't actually afford to block Tashar, right? They still have to chump there. Because if they block Tashar, they're at 9 life. Do they have any creatures in grave? They don't have any creatures in grave. They go to essentially 9. Taking 5 instead, which puts them to 4. They're at 4 life with these 2 blockers. Block 1 damage there, block 1 damage there, and take 4. Yeah, they cannot block Tashar if they don't have a trick in hand here, if we do the all attack. They do have a trick in hand. Didn't block Tashar anyway. Wow, that did work pretty poorly for us, but now we have Onsera's Wings to throw an Untamed Kavu. They're not going to have any discards, so I'd rather wait till our turn to cast this. Because if they have a removal spell for Untamed Kavu, I'd rather they just like kill it now before we try to Wings it. Alright, looks like no removal for Kavu. Assume they would have Blessed Light. Yeah, they would have cast Blessed Light by now. So hit for 6, put them down to 2. Could play a 2-3. We're at 40 life. We're not going to need to kick this to gain another 10. Let's get that 2-3 body on the board so we have something else to attack with if Kavu's gone. Alright, they're digging for that answer. See if they draw into the Blessed Light. If they don't, we have lethal, and it looks like they do not. That is going to be our 5th victory. That was kind of a scary one. We were out of gas. If they top decked a Blessed Light at the end there, they would be back into it. But super happy with how the draft has gone. We are 5-1, getting all of our gems back and more. So we'll see if we can't keep the win rate up in these final few rounds. Here we are in round 7 now. We've got a turn 2 Corrosive Ooze. We have all 3 of our colors. Then we have Onsera's Wings to put onto it, or Tashar to just put onto the board. I'm going to keep this hand, but it's kind of a weird one. Not that it's like a bad one, it's just weird. We definitely need to hit like a land, and then we can cast these 2. But, yeah, just kind of a strange collection of cards. See what they can do here. There's Untamed Kavu. We do have 2 Untamed Kavus as well, so it shouldn't be super surprising they keep showing up. As you can see, that card's pretty absurd. It's kind of the green Sarah Angel. 5 mana, 5/5 Vigilance Trample instead of 5 mana, 4/4 Flying Vigilance. Alright, well, we can't really attack into this Pegasus Courser here. I think I'd rather Tashar first than Onsera's Wings 2/2. I mean, Untamed Kavu is big enough to draw removal, even if it doesn't have a Sarah's Wings onto it, so it's the kind of card that we can play out on turn 5, and then if it survives the turn cycle, if it makes it back to our turn and this card hasn't been killed, then we're pretty safe to slap some wings onto it and just win the game. 4 Bear's Blade from our opponent. We do draw Ancient Animus as well, which is a really good synergy with Onsera's Wings. I guess maybe we would rather play Onsera's Wings this turn, because the problem is Tashar doesn't attack into this Pegasus Courser, so we get to just start attacking immediately if we drop Onsera's Wings right now. I mean, once they put their blade onto the Pegasus Courser, I suppose we don't attack in super well. We just kind of trade there. But then Tashar maybe brings back Ooze later. And we can go for an Ancient Animus once we get Untamed Kavu down. We'll have a 5/5 that can fight a 4/3, which is how big the Courser would be. I don't know, I'm not super sure about the sequencing here. It's weird. As I said before, it's a weird collection of cards. Just having a couple 2/2s that can't get in doesn't feel great, but I'm probably playing way more aggressively than you'd need to in Dominaria. Definitely a grindier format. Should probably be going for max value stuff rather than making sure I get attacking as soon as possible, like putting the Sarah's Wings onto Ooze lets us do. Well, now we're probably going to go for a Blessed Light on the Pegasus Courser, because we get the 2-for-1 there. We get rid of their aura and their flyer. That being said, we don't need to do it right now. I can just play an Untamed Kavu here and do that next turn. And we can hope they slap on the Forebear's Blade to the Pegasus Courser as well and just really go all in. Because then Blessed Light would be just absolutely beautiful. They only have 2 cards left in their hand here. They do put the Forebear's Blade onto the Pegasus Courser. We're going to get hit for a lot, but that's okay. We've got life gain. We can take the beating. Even if we didn't, we're at 17. That's not that big of a deal. Alright, now we go for the Blessed Light, right? To get rid of this Pegasus Courser, we can attack with both our creatures after that. The Forebear's Blade only moves when the creature dies, not when it gets exiled. Let's see if this works for us. It does indeed. Creature's gone. All attack. All they've got is a 1/1 right now. That will be a 4/1 flying first strike once they equip the blade to it. But again, it's got that Ancient Animus, and a 5/5 can fight a 4/1 quite well. Navigator's Compass, gain a little bit of life. Mana fixing card. They are going to get a splash color here, it looks like. Blue source for Cloud Reader Sphinx. So they have another flyer on the board. Forebear's Blade doesn't get first strike. Do we want to kill the Sphinx or the Sarah Disciple? I think we still just want to kill the Sphinx. Even though the Disciple threatens to block and kill Corrosive Ooze without dying. Oh wait, no it doesn't. Corrosive Ooze destroys the equipment. I completely forgot about the flavor text of Corrosive Ooze this whole time. Yeah, no, Corrosive Ooze is actually insane. Because it blows up the equipment. I could put a counter on Corrosive Ooze and kill the Sphinx with it, but if I do that, it'll die to first strike from Sarah Disciple, and I can't attack in with it this turn, so it's probably better to Kavu fight. Yeah, that's nuts. I didn't even realize, yeah, Sarah Disciple getting a Forebear's Blade on it is just not a problem at all, because the 4/1 first strike isn't big enough to fight the 5/5, and Corrosive Ooze will just blow up the blade. The 2-mana 2/2 with basically just flavor text. Flavor text actually really matters here. If we attack all, we just have lethal, right? Block, they take 2, take 1 more, not quite. Not quite, but it's worth the all attack, especially with Sapperling Migration. We definitely have lethal the turn after this. They have no cards in hand. Let's just put them to 1 here. I guess we put them to 2 life. I scoop them up. Maybe I miscounted, actually. No, we put them to 1. Because they block that. They block both to stop as much trample damage as possible. They go to 1 life. We still have both our flyers. Oh yeah. They go to 1, but our board states, unless they have a Wrath in their deck, it's just kind of insurmountable still. So I think that's 6-1 now for the Skittering Slimefoot deck. Yep. 6 wins, 1 loss. See if we can't get a 7-win trophy run out of this draft. I'd be super happy. Here we are, round 8 now. We've got a Trapper and a Courser to play on 3. We could play a Kavu on 2. Slimefoot is going to be a dead card in our hand for a while. I'm still definitely keeping this. We draw an Ancient Animus, and we're going greedy with the Kavu as usual. Just treat it as a green Sarah Angel. They go for the turn 3 Mesa Unicorn. Get a Trapper down and offer a trade with it. Yeah, I'd be okay with that. Be okay with that. The lifelink is going to be really hard to try to outrace. It's going to give them a lot of value throughout the game if we just sit here blocking with our 1-3. Alright, Mesa Unicorn is gone. And Josuves, Lich Knight, they're just going to play a 4-5 Menace this turn, which is an incredibly big deal. Not as bad as if they'd kicked it, but it cost 1,000,000 mana to kick it. But yeah, a 4-5 Menace is still an incredibly big deal. That is way, way above the curve for a 4-mana creature. Knight of Grace as well. Another card well above the curve for a 2-mana creature. 4-mana 4-5 Menace, 2-mana 3-2 First Strike. To play a 5-5 Trample here, so at least we have some form of counterattack if they don't have removal in hand. If they have removal in hand, this game looks like a goner though. But now we can threaten to double block Josuves and single block a Knight of Grace. Looking like removal to me. Eyeballing the Kavu heavily. Eviscerate on the Kavu. Eviscerate on the Kavu. Well, we're mega dead. All we can do is trump 3 damage here if we want. Which we definitely don't want to. We're down to 9 now. Krosan Druid, I mean... Turn 8 will gain 10 life. A little bit far away from turn 8, though. A little bit too far away from turn 8. We gotta just jam it out. Nothing big enough to Animus. This is where our Animus is really shown off its weaknesses. It just can't do anything for us here. I mean, I guess we can have Druid fight Knight of Grace so we at least kill something here. We have to 2-for-1 ourselves to kill one of their cards, though. Feels super bad, but we do everything we can to stop as much damage as we can. Fungal Infection in hand 2 seems good. Yep, our opponent's hand is just great. Extra mega super dead. So that game was kind of the payoff game, the payback game, where we do get punished for, as I said before, some of the issues with the deck, where we will have hands where we just can't cast Slimefoot because we only have the 3 black sources, the Surveyors in the Swamp, and being down a card is going to be painful sometimes. And then we're also going to have hands where Ancient Animus just can't do anything because our creatures are too small, and that was just both of those problems compounded against a great aggressive start from our opponent. So punished a bit from our deck, and our opponent had some great stuff going on. So that'll be 6-2. We're now heading into the final boss, win or lose here. Final game of Magic for this sweet deck. We've got turn 2 Kavu, potential turn 4 Onsara's Wings. Do have Slimefoot being a meanie in our hand again, no swamp for it, but we are on the draw here, and we only need 1 land to hit Onsara's Wings and Tashar, so I am going to keep this. Any single land gets us to casting most of our hand, all but one of our cards. Our opponent does take a mulligan down to 6 here. They start with a Mountain turn 1. Could be a pretty aggressive deck. They do start with a Get to Lava Runner turn 1. We might have to drop Untamed Kavu turn 2 if they play a creature on turn 2. Oh, Blue-Red Wizards. Blue-Red Wizards, in my opinion, is the most powerful deck in the format when it's operating at full capacity. So it's a really scary deck to run up against. It's also a deck that's super good against our Onstar's Wings, because again, all of their cheap ways to bounce things. So this could be a pretty problematic matchup for us in the finals. You know what? I might not even want to play Kavu here, because sure, I can play Kavu and theoretically block Gitu Lava Runner. But they also just have Shivan Fires for just 1 mana to do 2 damage to our creature that can kill Kavu, but can't kill it if we kick it later. We are only taking 1 a turn right now. They didn't play a 2-mana creature or anything like that. So for now, we're fine. Okay, now we have 2 Kavus. But let's keep to maximum greed. Let's go turn 4 Tashar, turn 5 and 6 Untamed Kavu. Here's Tashar to die to a Shivan Fire, probably. Or Counterspell now. They've got 4 mana up. Still only 1 creature on board from our opponent. That's definitely good for us. At least we've got a little bit of time to try to get some stuff going here. All right. They were thinking for a long time there. They definitely have a lot of instant speed options. They just did not want to use any of them there. All right, so their plan here is to cast an Opt after we block to make the Lava Runner a 2/2 at instant speed and just like trick into killing our card. Or Fire Fist Adept if we don't block. So they had the card for if we block, they kill our creature. Maybe even a Run Amok in hand or something like that. And then if we don't block, they still kill our creature. So not like the Dream Hand. The Dream Hand, we'd be down at like 6 life if this was the Blue-Red Wizards with the Dream Hand, but still definitely feels like they've got all the things they need. We'll see. I mean, we have a 5/5 down now, so kind of moment of truthy here. Maybe not. We got a 5/5 down. They did have to tap out to kill Tashar, so that was really nice. That was definitely helpful for us. They're not tapped out now, though. Do we attack in with Kavu and see what they do? Makes it more likely our other Kavu resolves post-combat. I think we do. It's got Vigilance, so we'll still be blocking with it. We definitely don't jam out an Onsar's Wings against the untapped blue deck here. There's way too many things that can go wrong with that. Counterspell, Bounce Spell being the 2 big ones. They're just going to take 5 for now so they can hold up all their other instant speed stuff, whatever it may be. Maybe it's just Shivan Fire, and Shivan Fire can only do 4 damage maximum. How hard do we play against... How hard do we play around Syncopate, I should say? They can Syncopate for 5, so if we Corrosive Ooze, they can Syncopate it, but we don't really care if they Syncopate Corrosive Ooze. We care if they Syncopate one of these 2 cards. I think the choices here are really Kavu or Ooze on whether or not we think they have Syncopate. I do think they have Syncopate, but if we get Syncopate out of the way on Kavu, it means we get to cast an Onsar's Wings for at least a moment, potentially. Okay, it's Wizard's Retort. That works too. Again, we still have all the bounce spell problems with Onsar's Wings, but at least we dragged 1 counterspell out of their hand. Now they can double block Untamed Kavu and kill it. Onsar's Wings gets syncopated even if we cast it right now. They've got more than enough mana for the X. So I think we drop Corrosive Ooze and see what happens. They've got an instant, of course. They are always going to have an instant. Well, we'll try our best here. Because if the instant does not bounce Kavu, then we get to get in for a bunch in the sky. Fingers crossed. It is not into the Royal. If it's a counterspell that's bad but not terrible, the bounce spell would be terrible. Uh-oh. They let it resolve. That makes me think it's the bounce spell. Maybe they're just playing in full control mode. Probably not. Maybe they just have Opt in hand, scry 1, draw 1. Something like that. Befuddle. Oh, it is. It's the Shivan Fire. It's the saddest Shivan Fire. We've got a 5 toughness creature out for their 4 damage spell, and then we sent it into the sky. where they can't stack up any blocks on it with a Shivan Fire. All right, Kavu, are you getting in here? Are you getting bounced or anything? Befuddled, so they can draw a card here. Opt to scry one, draw a card. If they have the Into the Royal bounce a creature spells, they are definitely drawing into it. Or the Academy Journey Mage. So we Aven Sentry here. Syncopate would be for unless I pay 2, so we can afford the Syncopate. Yeah, drop the flyer down. We've got lethal next turn if they don't have an answer to one of our creatures. They scoop them up, no answer to either. That is so surprising to me. That is unfortunate for our opponents. Some really bad draws there. I don't think they had a bad Wizards deck. I didn't see anything in here that I wouldn't play in a Wizards deck. And they had some really good cards. Shivan Fire, Wizard's Retort, Divination, Opt, Fire Fist, Adept, and Gitsu Lava Runner. These are all really great cards. So all we saw were great cards from them, except for like Befuddle, which is still fine. I'd be willing to bet more that they got unlucky than that they just didn't have any of the bounce spells. So that's super lucky for us that we managed to just dodge all of the bounce spells with our On Sarah's Wings Untamed Kavu there for the victory. But I'll take it. That's a 7-win run. That's a trophy run for the Dominaria draft. Really cool deck here. We'll take one final look at the deck if you're interested in checking it out. We had the double Sarah's Angel, double On Sarah's Wings, and double Untamed Kavu. Double Skittering Surveyor as well, so just a lot of duos of just really powerful cards. Very Sarah-themed green-white deck here, splashing in that Slimefoot, which was nice too. Even in the one game where we did get a Slimefoot out and activated a bunch, it wasn't really necessary, so maybe we're technically not supposed to be splashing Slimefoot, because the deck did have a lot of power in just green-white. I'm not sure, but overall, obviously the deck functioned really well. Highly recommend taking Untamed Kavu's, Sarah Angels, and On Sarah's Wings quite highly throughout the draft. We got really lucky with our removal as well. Only the 2 removal spells, and we did draw them when we needed them quite often. We did, of course, draw Ancient Animus in some inopportune times as well, but that's super fair and good because we had multiple games where we drew both Blessed Light and Ancient Animus, and that was obviously a pretty fantastic game when we got both of them. So yeah, that was the deck. That will be the draft for today. I hope you all enjoyed that draft as much as I enjoyed playing it. But as always, we'll do the little outro here. If you'd like to see some more of these videos, just make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to let the YouTube algorithm know to send more of them your way. And we'll have more Dominaria drafts in the near future. We've got Ravnica Mixer Sealeds starting April 8th. Tinkerer's Cube drafts starting April 15th. And then Streets of New Capenna, April 28th. Something like that, around those numbers. TLDR, April is a great month for Limited, and there'll be plenty of videos for all the various formats. So once again, as always, thank you all very much for watching, and I'll see you again soon for some more Magic Arena.